Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I will be sorting out this little mess of a bookcase. I don't know what to do exactly with my bookshelves. I do have like I think excluding the books that are on my TBR currently and what I'm reading, I have one book in that I'm reading and then 5 books for my TBR, so 6 books. No, sorry, 7 books. I've also got it in my bedroom. I've just been like casually reading. So the 7 books that I've not got on here, so that's 133 books that are on here that I need to reorganise. I do also have 4 books on the top. They're all over the place as of right now. Top shelf normally was like more romance and stuff, and I do have my Throne of Glass on there. I think I want to turn that into more of a fantasy shelf, so I'm going to keep like my Throne of Glass on there, move some of my fantasies up to set there, and then take my romance down. Bottom shelf, I don't really know what I want to do with that. That one I don't really see much, so it's kind of like my ugly shelf, which is half books that I've already read, has all my hardbacks and things like that on. Just books I don't really like necessarily care about as much. Yeah, I don't know. I do obviously still care about these books, but it's just random books on there, and I want to kind of like figure out what to do. So I don't know exactly, but I think I might start this by taking things off and then moving it up and down and stuff and whatnot. I don't know, so I'm gonna have a little few piles on the floor at some point. So yeah, I'm gonna end up having like 20 piles on the floor, but we are gonna try and figure this out. The first thing we're gonna do is get rid of all my jelly cats and all my little things that are on here. So I've got my little aubergine coming off, my gingerbread house, which I just call him Ginger because it's just Ginger. And then you've got my little croissant and my little banana, my little roses I got for Valentine's Day. They are all off the shelf, and then there's only two other things that I need to take off, which is my little candle, which I'm going to put on the top for the time being. And then the last thing that I need to come off is, this is meant to be a flower pot. We don't have enough flowers for it, so I just use it as my bookmark holder. I do want to get a prettier one though at some point, but this is what this is for the time being. So now I need to go through all of these and figure out what we want to do and where we want to put everything. But I think the first step for this is to potentially go to the top shelf and get rid of everything off there. We've already felt things are already falling, guys. Gonna keep this whole stack but just put it up one shelf, so it's going to be the exact same order. And obviously I need to put Caravelle on there as well, but that is in my bedroom because I'm currently reading, but there's space on there for that. And I think I might put this here because it is the same as like this, basically, as Powerless and Red Queen are basically the same, and I only do have Red Queen at the moment. I don't have the rest of the series. And I also might do the same with the Cruel Prince and the Wicked King. I believe that is the first and second book. I know this is the first, I think it's the second book, I'm not too sure. And then I think I might put this here. It's kind of like quite pretty and it kind of matches the vibes. This series, I don't know if it's like fantasy as such, but I feel like the sides of it kind of matches, but I feel like it also matches my romance. So I'm just going to leave this to the side, because I don't necessarily mind if they're mixed up a little bit. I'm just kind of more doing it for vibes than anything. And then this is a big old boy, so that can go here. And then that was just on a random stack. Yeah. And what else do I want on here? Because obviously some of these books are not like, I think these are now not really thingy. Oh, I can probably put these two actually. My Six of Crows and my Crooked Kingdom matches that perfectly. And then we're going to go to Shadow and Bone. I'm just going to stack that like this because I don't actually, it won't fit any other way. And then that's what we're going to leave for the top shelf for the time being. This shelf is more my romance, so I'm just going to take everything off here and then put the romances on, and then we'll figure out the bottom shelf as we go along. I think I'm just going to stack these in this series up here now. I think that is the right order. And then know this is not how the books go. I'm just putting it in the order that I need to read. I might put this one here. My shelves are pretty much full already, guys, and I've not sorted my whole bottom shelf. Like, I can probably fit 2 books in here, right? Or 1. Right, that's that fill. I've got like 43 books to still put in here, and it's full. I might have to take these 2 off because these technically are my boyfriend's. So they're going off for the time being, and we're going to try and figure out what's happening with Link. This book we are keeping on as a thingy, so I'm going to be reading it in a reading vlog, which also will be coming out this month. But once that's read, it is going here if it fits. But it's not read yet, so I can't do that. So at the moment, that one does need to get read soon, so I'm just going to leave this here. Hey guys, as you can see, my shelf looks a little bit more full. I've got all my props back on. I have finished my shelf. Yesterday I did have to like end the video and then figure out what I was going to do with my shelf, because I literally had like 30 books that had to fit on there and I didn't know where to put them. Have sorted it out. There is about 5 or 6, potentially 7 books that is in the bedroom still that I have not put on. I've got 5 in this month that I'm reading, 1 book that I am reading for a YouTube video, and then 1 book that is on there that I'm not read yet, but it's going to be, when I've read it, it'll be back on here at some point. Them books are not accounted for in here. Some of them have spaces to fit on, like my Carousel one fits up here. I have a few like that will have like slots for them physically. Some of them do not have any slots for them, so we'll get to that bit when we get to that part. But this is my done shelf for the time being. I do like it, but I definitely at some point this year I'm gonna go and buy another shelf, because I do need another shelf, because this is not doing it anymore for me. I'm having to go back onto this because I accidentally did not record. I thought I was recording and it wasn't. But this is my shelf. So over here we have Gingerbread House, and then behind we have the Get Rid of Glass series, which is kind of overspilled over because it doesn't quite fit. And above that we have The Cruel Prince. I've already got 2 of the books. I do want the rest of them, but we'll get that at some point. The first book of Game of Thrones, and then we have 6 of Crows, Phantasma. I'm not sure if this is going to be another book in a series or not, but that is here. Then we have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I believe there is a 3rd book out, so I do need to get that at some point. I've not read, so it doesn't matter that much right now. Then Red Queen, which I want to read soon, and I do need the rest of the series. Then we have the Caravel and the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogies. Caravel, obviously it's in my bedroom at the moment, so it's not right here at the moment. And then we have the Powerless series, which has kind of overflowed again because we don't have, it didn't fit underneath. And then we have my little croissant. That is the first of my fantasy shelf, mainly fantasy. Well, I feel like most of these are actually more romantasy than fantasy, to be honest, but that is that shelf. Then we move down a shelf, so just off peeking off we have a Gonk, and then over here we have my 2 jelly hats, a banana and aubergine, and then behind that we have my bookmark container. Behind the jelly cats we have my Elsa Silver Chestnut Spring series, and then my Pumpkin Spice Dreamland series. Behind the aubergine we had my Stealing Home and Breakaway, which I believe is part of a series, and I believe there is a book before these two. I'm not entirely sure though, so I need to little check in that. And then we've got Clyde and then the Flat Share, which I can't wait to get to at some point. We have my Binding 13 series, which I know is in the wrong order. That is because I have read these two. I have read this one, but I want to reread because I feel like I wasn't properly in the book at the time. And then these two are the next in the series that I need to read, which is why they're in this kind of like order at the moment. But obviously once I start reading them, I will put them back into the right order. Then these few, we got some of these recently, to be fair. This one I got in Italy when I was over there, which is called When in Rome. I absolutely loved it and I want to get the rest of the series. These four I got for my birthday, so Anatomy, A Love Story, The Baby Jogging Cafe, which I actually read recently and I really did enjoying it, so can't wait for the rest of the book series out of that. Then The Wedding Witch and Blackwater. I don't really know what any of these two were about, I just kind of seen them and the covers were pretty, so I brought them for that. Then we have my Rose bouquet. Behind my Rose bouquet we have a lot of Lauren Asher, so we have the Fine Print series, and then this is another Dreamland series, which is Love Unwritten and Love, I think, Redesign is the first book. I'm just currently reading that one actually, so that's why it's not here. Then above that we have Hannah Bonham Young. I need to just read the next two you left. I've read these two, I absolutely love them. And above that we have The Anti-Wedding Party and A Merry Little Meet Cute, which I will be reading at some point later in the year, because obviously Christmas books, and it's not anywhere near Christmas right now, but I got it from the works because it was on half price because of the fact it's a Christmas book and I got it after Christmas. Then I have my little candle as well up there, which I really like. That I don't really like the shelf. I don't know if I like want it to be as busy as it is, so I might end up taking some stuff off it at some point, but at the moment I'm absolutely loving it. The last shelf is my bottom shelf. It is a lot more busier because it is kind of like out of frame when I sit down on the sofa because of this being in the way. So it does have most of my books on. These over this side I have read most of them. So this side I have read both of the If You Had Been With Me series, The Cellar. I've read Lightlark, I'm Glad My Mum Died, and The Guest List. I need to read Nightbane, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and then Think Again, and then We Solve Murders, that's the ones I've not read. And over here, this whole stack I've actually read. So we've got Carla, which I've really enjoyed, Let's Split Up, The Last Guest House, and then a few Frida books. So we've got Never Lie One by One, The Housemaid and The Housemaid's Secret, The Inmate, The Locked Door, and The Perfect Son. Did enjoy all of these. The thriller wise, they're quite quick and easy reads. I did enjoy them, but they weren't like my favourite books. But then the next few I read I read one like each year pretty much, but it's Richard Osman, The First Murder Club, and then The Man Who Died Twice, and The Bullet That Missed. I do need to read the fourth of that book at the moment, but I haven't read it yet. And then moving on, this side is books that I have read and books that I haven't read. So I've got the second and third book of The Hunger Games, which I have not read. I've not even read the first book fully, so I'm currently trying to read that this month. Then we've got The Good Girls Die First, and then Twisted by Steve Kafanov. I think that's how you say his surname, I'm not sure. I'm currently reading 13 by him as well. I haven't read much of it yet, but I am really enjoying it myself. Then down here we've got The American Roommate Experiment, The Better Left Unsent, The Road Trip, and The Switch by Beth O'Leary. I read all of them, and I believe everything on top of that I have not actually read yet, which is Eleanor, is it Oliphant? I don't know how you say that name, it's completely fine. The Wish, which is a Christmas book again, so I'm going to read that about Christmas time. We've got No One Saw a Thing, Rovrinda, The Trial, Shadow and Bone, A Pen Dipped in Poison, and then up right at the top, you can't see them too, but I've got The Antique Hunter's Guide to Murder, which I can't wait to read at some point. And because we've had to double stack my bookshelf, on the bottom I have the rest of my books on here. So these three are all the Game of Thrones series. So you have the second book, which you can barely see, which is A Clash of the Kings. The third and fourth book, which is both of them are A Storm of Swords, and that is the 1 and 2 for that. Then the next one I got this from a charity shop for £1.50, so I've only got the first book in the series, which is The Priory of the Orange Tree. I don't know, I've never really read proper like fantasy, so it'd be nice to try it out once in a while. This book is actually my boyfriend's, but it's a Free Body Problem. It looks interesting, I might try and read it one day myself. Next up we've got a series, which is a Shatter Me series. I have read Shatter Me and then I think Destroy Me. and then that's it. So I need to get into this series at some point, and then I'm going to go over the second half. So we have the Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I've never read anything by him, but I seen Ali Goodwin, she recommended it, and it sounded really interesting, so I kind of want to read it. Then next we've got is Hamnet. Again, this sounded really interesting. I don't really know anything about it, but I kind of want to read it. And then we've got Tomorrow. That book I just kind of brought because it's really popular, or at least was quite a while ago, and I just thought it'd be a nice read. Then we've got Lessons in Chemistry, because again, it was a popular book and I felt like it sounded really interesting, so I kind of wanted to give it a go and see if I liked it. I do want to try and get into more different genres this year. Then next up we've got the whole of the Harry Potter series, minus the second book, because the second book is in my bedroom at the moment, because I'm reading that just before I go to sleep, kind of reading at the moment. And then last book we've got on here is my Richard Osman, the 4th book, which is The Last Devil to Die. Hey guys, that is my bookcase. Obviously I do have a few books in the bedroom that I need to somehow find a spot for at some point. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe and comment below, and I'll see you guys next week for a brand new video. Bye guys.